Interview-Vlog-U-Haul.
I don't know, it's just different, bro. Now it's like walking in my house, I'm like, I don't even know what to do with all this space, bro. I've been so cooped up, you know? But I really feel like for my family, I don't know if you ever felt like this, but like, to me, for my family, I'm like a beacon of hope, man. Like my family looks to me, man. They look to me. I'm the youngest, but they just, I don't know. My bro ran away because life was so bad, bro. He had a pops. My pops was in prison, bro. You know what I'm saying? My pops was in jail. My pops was drinking. He was lit. He was, whatever he was doing. My sister ran away. They got the same dad. It was me and mom just stuck. You feel me? And she was the runaway. You know what I mean? She was the youngest. She was the one that was like, had a baby when she was 15. You see what I'm saying? Like, so to just see her happy, like those was tears of joy, bro. She's sobbing, bro. Like I'm holding her. You feel me? She's like legit crying. And I'm just looking like, oh my God, this is crazy. It just chills, just like, because it's like, maybe that don't mean a lot to somebody else, but to me, like I made it. Like to me, that's success. To me, that's success. You feel me?
So where are we at right now?
We are in Southeast Portland.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The numbers, man.
The numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where we at, man. Where I relocated after gentrification started. You know what I'm saying? I bounced around a lot because I was homeless, but like this is where we eventually found, placement. Me and my mom's. Yeah.
Laced up, man.
Yeah.
I know, like when we scheduled for this interview, the passion you had for it, you right away was like, man, come meet me out here at Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
We really wanted to showcase this. Where did the idea come from?
Yeah. LacedUpPDX was an idea about 5-6 years ago that I had. I worked in the community for a really long time. You ask anybody in this side of town, they saw me at some point working in the community all the time. When I was on TV, when I was traveling across the country, 57 cities plus, I still came back to my community and was helping. You feel me?
Right.
But I never really enjoyed the process because I was realizing that the first come, first serve theory is not something I enjoyed watching, man. Right. It was really crazy to see. So I think that's where it was birthed, the idea, right? I didn't know what this would become, but I think that's where it started.
Did you come up with it by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I basically, just brainstormed with a few of my folks, you feel me? And said, man, we're in the home of sneakers. Why wouldn't we give back something that we're the home of? We're in the home soil and the root of sneakers. That's something we have a direct connection to. And kids with a fresh pair of kicks on the first day of school, there's no other kind of confidence. There's no other level of confidence other than what a haircut really that can give someone that type of, that unwavering confidence. And I think that being a kid that was homeless and that was affected directly by the low income situation that my mother was in, my single parent household was in, I knew that I had to do something. It was up to me. And so through sneakers and through this idea, man, it was birthed about 3 years ago, man. This is not a first come, first serve event. So it's going to be the first of its kind. It's a private event for youth. It's going to be the biggest back to school event in the country. You can mark my words, and I hope they dig up this video, you feel me? I hope they dig it up. But I think a lot of people want to not be disconnected from their community. I think when you're successful, you want to make sure that you provide opportunity. I think opportunity is the most powerful thing in this world. Opportunity to make mistakes, opportunity to be successful, opportunity to change. As long as you wake up every morning, you have opportunity. That's all the person giving is trying to provide. You can go to our website. There's a donation button right when you log in. You feel me?
or you can scroll through, take a look, see what we do. It's very in depth. Shout out to P-Town Media for providing us with that. And you can kind of see all of our partners that are also involved. And if it's up your alley, feel free to help monetarily, sponsor kids, you know, significantly sponsor kids. So like you can purchase a certain amount of tennis shoes and they will receive those. Haircuts, backpacks, school supplies, you know, opportunities for after school programs. You know what I mean? Like the whole nine. It's not just the tennis shoes. It's much more than that.
Is it the responsibility of a person in that position to get back?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, some people would look at me and say, oh, he's just from the community. He's been blessed to be able to do this or do that. I'm not this extremely successful person, but I'm still using my responsibility and my opportunity to provide. So,
experience.
Yeah,
exactly.
Connections, whatever you call it. You know, you're right. I genuinely believe it's responsible. There's a responsibility involved.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, check this out. Every one of you wonder who finna take over the industry, definitively me beginning epitome of anything I'm in this thing until every one of them wheels fall off and it disintegrate. Man, I've been a great, you emulate, I innovate, you imitate, I'm never late, you hella late. No one ever rip any one of you till I hyperventilate. Mentally, I'm in a state, I'm never coming to an end. Go ahead and hate. I got one more for y'all before I go, so rock with me. Yeah.
Fame, it seems like when people reach a certain height, success level of success and fame, whatever it may be, the hunger and what they're doing starts to kind of dwindle. Things, you start to lose the love, it starts to become more of a job, an occupation. What keeps you hungry though? And even that's something that you even see driving you to get better and better even after you might reach a certain status. Like, well, what's the hunger?
I think a childlike love for the art keeps me hungry. I started when I was really young. I released my first record when I was 12 years old. And I'm talking record, like printed up. You feel me?
Yeah.
I did a Max theme song when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We did a cash deal, money deal with the Max, with Trimac.
Yeah.
So I was signing contracts early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a contract with my aunt early.
Yeah.
So I understood business and going hand in hand with music.
What has been like the best experience if you just walked into a room, people kind of like, oh, this dude getting on the mic, and then you just light them up? Like, when was the first time you really had that, like, yeah, check me out?
Right. Man, it's been so long, man. I've been rapping so long.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely not one of the first ones. I did a Alberta Street fair. And DJ OG1 was my DJ. I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
When I got on the mic that day, man, OG1, I'll never forget, he dropped the record right at my verse. And he told me, he said, don't be scared. Don't be scared. I was never really nervous, but I have a lot of energy on stage. And I was trying to figure it out. I'm 14. I don't know yet, man. I'm learning.
Yeah.
And man, I'll never forget, OG did the little, as soon as it dropped, bro, my timing, my everything, it felt like everything moved in slow motion for like a few seconds.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the crowd. There was people in the street. People turned around and was like, oh my God, this little kid getting to it right now. And I'll never forget that because I look for that slow motion moment in every show, no matter what. You know, we've done over 1,000 shows in my career, and it's like that's what I look for from that moment.
Right.
And that was the moment I knew that performing was my thing. You know, that is my niche. But now I can take a room. My crowd control is crazy.
Yeah.
So now it's like I can take a room, 500 people, and every single person is enthralled with what's going on.
Yeah.
And I have no doubts.
You still get that look from people that don't really know what you about.
Right.
And they see you and they like, what? And then as soon as you start spitting, they like.
Right. I'm pretty quiet. I'm talking a lot now, but when I show up for sound check, man, I do like 10 seconds of each song. Make sure my drummer can hear.
Yeah.
And we're good.
Yeah.
You know, I booked a Def Jam streaming party in LA off soundcheck. He literally comes up to me and was like, bro, who are you?
Yeah.
Right? And I was just in the corner chilling, but I genuinely believe that, you know, sometimes the quietest man in the room, you got to kind of watch him.
Right. He's the most Man, he will
Lethal.
come murder. Yeah.
Word.
Oh, yeah.
Facts.
I used to be that man in the corner with the hoodie on.
Oh, he still is. Don't let him play you. He still is, man. His album is in my car right now. Don't let him look.
You set the tone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, I'll probably do like a beer because if I'm doing sound check, I don't want to be too late.
So what's the prep like for the show? Like what you go through when you prepping to get ready for it?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of moving parts. You know, I take pride in my brand and in what I represent. So my DJ has been working on sound for the entire event. You know, he's a tech guy. You know, he'll do all the running and gunning for me. You know what I'm saying? While I'm out doing whatever, and he makes sure I sound like $1 million when I come on. You feel me? So that's been happening weeks in advance. A lot of things people don't see. That, and then usually I perform with a drummer. Tonight I'm not going to be able to because some of those sound issues, right? We knew he wouldn't be able to perform at his best ability without being able to hear.
Right.
So usually there's a lot of sound things that come along with that because our show's just, it's loud. It's in your face.
Yeah.
You feel me? So the prep is really weeks and months in advance, right?
Yeah.
But for something specific, you know, a lot of the show set, I feel like show set you don't choose until like early, like right before you go, you know, the day before. Because I feel like it's an energy. You got to see where you at. You got to feel where you at. So I just, you know, I text over the set night before, like, this is what we doing. They're like, okay, let's go then. Because rehearsing, we know the entire catalog. You feel me?
Right.
So on the fly, I could switch it, and we're gonna be right there, you know, in the groove. Yep. And then also my merch booth, my brand being represented at the venue is very, very important. So we have merch, hoodies, t-shirts, stickers. You feel me? Banners. You know, I like to interact with the fans. I like to interact with the supporters. So after every show, I make sure that I'm out moving around.
That easy. Can I get a round of applause for Kelly? I do want to remind everyone that while you can smoke cigarettes on the third deck only, you cannot smoke any marijuana on board. If anyone's caught with it, the cruise is canceled and it's on that one person. Enjoy your cruise.
When'd you start rapping?
Bro, when I was 10 years old, dropped my first record in Vallejo, California. You know, obviously I was still living here, but I traveled to Vallejo every single summer. And so, I dropped my first record when I was 12 years old.
So how'd you start? Like, what was the influence?
Man, a lot of hip hop. So a lot of struggle was going on in my life. A lot of ups and downs. We was homeless. Domestic violence. My mom was, you know, with men and then not with men, and trying to figure out life. And so being able to pull out a pen and pad and just kind of write how I felt. Hip hop made me feel like I could do that. Hip hop gave me an avenue to listen to, and I really felt where people were coming from.
What artists
Specifically?
that you was like, man, yeah.
Oh man, I'd have to say Jay-Z by far was the first one that got through to me lyrically. He broke the monotony to me. There was a lot of similar stuff coming out, and he broke the monotony to me. And those words just resonated with me. The stories he was telling, how he told his story, was just really, really great. Eminem obviously was a big influence, but that was a little later. Snoop was a huge influence. Pop was a huge influence. And Biggie, man. So those, Big L, I was a huge Big L fan. So I don't know, man. I really liked people with substance.
How would you describe your style, man? Like, how did you develop your style, and then how would you describe your style?
Yeah. I think my style really started to come to fruition through Eminem's success, through the culture at that point. The culture was really hugging a lot of wordplay, a lot of internal rhyming. There was a lot more depth coming to the music, and storytelling became much more intricate. And I think I really enjoyed that. I really have always been a fan of Dre's drums, so I think my sound started to flourish around that time, and I started learning my cadence as a person. As a person, naturally, I'm Italian and Mexican, and I kind of talk a little fast. You know, I'm confident when I talk. You know what I'm saying, and I know what I'm saying, right? And so I felt like I started messing with cadences and kind of rhythmic pockets and places to fall, and it was kind of unique. And being in a group at the time, I was in a duo. It was Dynamics, and Rez was my counterpart, and he was real deep voice, slow, kind of rhythmic, just kicking back, and I was more bouncy and more on top of the beat. And I started learning that I could rap fast a little bit, and I could flip the cadence, and I could flip the, you know, the syllables, and like people be like, bro, do that. The difference was I could do it live. Not a lot of people could do it live. I could do it like on the fly, bro. So it really started to transcend from there, I think, around 13, 14 years old.
Yeah. Was you freestyling and doing it?
Oh, yeah. Unc always said, you got to freestyle 2 hours a day. He was like, bro, don't even come talk to me till you freestyle for 2 hours a day, bro. I don't even want to hear you, bro. I don't even want to hear your bars, bro.
And this my body. Look, in my bag, look. In my bag, trying to bring it up. 2 for the 5 minutes. Somebody better let them know the work of love. Like, look at the ticket, look at the wrist, look at your riff. I'm sick of the gimmicks. This isn't an image, this is a vision. If I ball up one, nigga, it's a vision. Time of the month, I might be humble. Roll my down, come to the truth, boy.
How'd you figure out how to write bars?
Man, that's funny. I wrote raps for like 3-4 years without ever knowing what bars was. I had like 60 bars. You feel me? Just like, bro, like 7 papers long. Like, bro, what is this? But it's poetry. I feel like it was more poetry. It had a cadence of its own, or maybe I wrote it to an instrumental that a song that I really liked, but it never really had any, you know, wherewithal. You know what I mean? It never really, there was no rhythm, there was no structure. So around 15 is when I really learned how to count, and I would teach my friends how to count, and then I learned structure from theory, and I would just study, bro, read and listen to.
People don't know that's the science behind it.
Bro.
Yeah, it's the science behind writing raps.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
There is a structured way of doing it.
Yeah, there was a teacher that's we had to do a like a sonnet, and we had to like write all these different types of poems, and I'll never forget, like, there was rules to these poems, and I was like, I told him, I was like, I want to be a rapper, man. Are there rules in music? He was like, there's more rules in music than anything. You just got to learn them. And so I'll never forget him telling me that, and that's what kind of sparked the bug of wanting to learn how to count. And then my uncle followed up. We'd go to the studio in Vallejo, California with him, and he would make us go into the booth with the paper. He'd say no paper, so we'd have to memorize it on the paper. And if he heard like the crumpling on the microphone, he'll come in there and he was like, sock us up. You feel me? Like, he would sock us up. And it was like a thing, like, you know, you memorize this before you go in there. We ain't reading no raps. You feel me? And so after learning how to count, you learn how to memorize, and it gave you a structure to memorize.
Memorizing it gives you more flexibility to change the way you deliver a word, the way you know, it sounds more fluent when you memorize it. A lot of times people come in there with their rap and they be trying to read it off the paper and rap it at the same time, and losing count and stuff like that.
When you lose that natural cadence, there's a natural cadence. You know, I don't know about you, but when it came to my time to read the little paragraph in school, I was hella nervous, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
how did you develop the network, the process of coming together with promoters, producers, all that?
Well, what was the greatest part about being from a family that was an extended family, it wasn't my personal family, is they really loved me for who I was, man, and they looked out. And my best friend's mother had been in the music industry at one point, you know, and had helped Capitol Records, you know, back in the day, and had gotten an artist signed when she was real young. And so she said, if you really want to do this, I can help you. And she became my manager. She actually is still my manager today. But she's like my second mother, man. You feel me? She's like my auntie. You feel me? And so she has my best interest. So that's really how the network started, right? But the opportunities came from, I wrote the Chillaxin' on the Max when I was 15. I did the Max theme song when I was 15. And so that literally is what started the network, you know. I was on the side of the Max. I was on the side of the bus, and people was like, yo, who's this little young kid? and I was on commercials and stuff, and so people were really trying to tap in. We do every show that was available.
Right.
OG1 was my DJ when I was 15. You feel me? So I'm a hard worker, man, and I feel like our work ethic and our professionalism was bar none at the time, and so that's what allowed our network to grow and to build from a very young age, man. I'm just a hard worker, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I think that's him. Oh, sliders right here.
Are you listening to the beat first before you write, or are you writing something just off of motivation and then, oh, I gotta find a beat for this? What's coming first in the process? Is it the beat or the lyric?
It depends on how it starts. So if I'm writing a verse first, the beat usually is what has gave me that motivation. But if I'm starting with the hook, that can come whenever. I do melody lines randomly when I'm driving, and I pick up on, you know, tone and key just wherever we're at and what we're doing, and I feel like naturally I have an ear for that. Oh, what? But I think I naturally have an ear for that. It's gotten a lot better. So now, more recently, I don't necessarily need a beat to start. So the melody line for the hook would usually stem a thought or a concept. Victory is a great record of mine, one of my favorite records I've ever made. And that whole thing came from me hearing the drums live, and then me having I just want to win, I don't know what, I just heard like strings, and I knew we got to say it like this, you know? And I just hit him, he was like, come over right now. We made it in a shed, you know? I feel like I always have a lot to say, man. You know, and as I've gotten older, I've really learned to understand how to give it in doses. You know what I'm saying? Not to just like take the 16 bars and fill it.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes as a solo artist, being in a group for so long. You know, when I was younger, I didn't know how to fill a whole song out, and so I learned over time on how to just kind of feed them slowly.
Structuring each verse, you know, 4 bar, 4 bar, 4 bar, 4. I always tried to like 4 bars is this, and then the 4 bars of this, but have the whole verse kind of ride and make sense. Yeah. But each section is almost like a paragraph.
There's a song you did called "Friend Like Me."
Yeah.
That's a great example of what you're talking about. Yeah. On how you told the story and how you built the scenarios. It really feels like you right there. So I respect it, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, man, we gotta do one though.
Yeah.
I'll be ready, man.
Oh, hey, let's go, bro.
When we did the cypher with Vocab, I was like, yeah, man, we gotta do a track, man.
The 16-minute cypher, bro.
Where you at in 10 years? Where you see yourself at in 10 years?
10 years. I see myself as, well, first of all, I see myself as a homeowner. I see myself as a father. I see myself as a successful artist of whatever capacity. And I also see myself as a facilitator for opportunity in my community on a grand scale, on a scale that I cannot even imagine right now.
Right.
And because when I look in the mirror, I don't think I'll ever be where I want to be. And I think that that's something that we all need to realize is not always a bad thing. I think sometimes people put that on. And so I think that that's where the drive and the hunger is, and it's always going to be there until I go. And I just hope they say, oh, he was a real one.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I'm good, bro. You feel me?
Tell him to get more to the middle.
Hey, I'm gonna need all y'all motherfuckers to come to the middle, man. Come fuck with me, man. Y'all on the motherfucking boat, y'all sit down. Come on, get on your feet. Let's make it happen. I'm on another level. Look, I'm ahead of my time. You were here late, talk is cheap, but I guess if you broke, that's a fair rate. Referring to me as the turtle winner tortoise in the hair race till they see these balls with their own eyes, scared straight. Call it how I see it, narrate, flow saucy, so they soak up game, marinate. Who dare relate to a rapper who's like a bear with day grizzly, cause like a Lil Wayne outfit, I get busy. Is he as dope as they saying no? My rap speaks for itself, bro, they won't. You know with the flow, we ain't in the same boat. Have you seen my fucking track record? Usain Bolt. Word is I have everything the game don't, standing out like a black sheep. They some scapegoats. If you don't know what I came for, I'm all about my bread and my butter. Let them know the game's toast. Welcome to the motherfucking party. Let's go. Make some noise. I just dropped this video last week. It's called Big Facts. Hey, it's a summer vibe all summer. 2019. Y'all can bounce. 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 Okay, look. Just another day to jump off this song. That's supposed to be the boss when we talk, say, huh? Same sauce, you get lost in the cost, you bro. Never been a hit, it don't cost me none. Never been a minute up for holding that came with the book for. My checks on the hit, run it up for. Run it up for. Game time, ain't no shut for. Slow back, jump for. They never really know what I'm on. Okay, they like, what are y'all, what are y'all? All they ever saw is what are y'all, hits, what are y'all? All I'm saying is I know you got it, and all I'm saying is before it's done, it's all energy. I'm showing you some names, up in the city like all of a sudden. It's that hard work and that dedication. When opportunity meets preparation, second guessing, no hesitation. Persistence and patience. This is what happens when you know that circumstances determine your destination. Big facts, big facts. I done been there and did that. It's a big move, big moves. How to pay my dues. Breaking news. It's a bunch of big facts, big facts. I done been there and did that. I'm just trying to flip it back and get back. I'm in my bag, I'm into that. Yeah. In my bag, trying to run it up. 2 for the 5, no double dutch. Trying to double up. Girl, it's cold in the upper left, bundle up. With the vote up, where them ones at, just trying to blow it up. Went viral on, I'm like, what the fuck? Somebody better let them know to buckle up. Like, click of the ticket, look at the flick of the wrists, simply terrific. I'm sick of the gimmicks. This isn't an image, this is a vision, a vibe all in one. They on some shit at the time of the month. I might be humble, but wrong, not done. Call me the 2, I'm not the 1, yeah. Huh. I really ain't, you better know that. Mama left, so I sold that. Never been the one to condone that. Now that I'm on, I won't go back. Won't go back. Kiara, I love you. Man, we rocking tonight. Go get your ass and drink or something. And I got merch in the back. I got merch in the back. Go spend some money. Let's go. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, make some noise again. Come on, make some noise for fucking Mighty, man. Yes, y'all fucked up. You gave Rip City Reese the motherfucking mic, boy. My job is to make sure everybody in here gets laid.